How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the stream. We have a little bit of a different episode today. We'll be looking at Dune Awakening. It's been about 6 months since I last played it. Those of you who are my friends who might be watching this stream know that I really like this game, and I also really hate this game. It's got so many problems and has been kind of a pain in the butt. So I want to jump back in and, see what's going on, see what the devs have done before the big update that's supposed to come out maybe end of this year sometime. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that yet. I kind of want to, just take a look around and see how things are before all that drops. And right here at the starting screen, this patch right here, June 24th. So that's 5 months since Chapter 3 had been released. This right here, players are now pushed off ornithopters at higher speeds. Okay. This is important because when I was last playing, it was a pain in the butt to do anything in the PvP zone because the meta was 2 people, one on a scout ornithopter with rocket pods or booster pods, and someone with a las gun on top, and just blasting away because you could go faster than anything else with that setup, with the person riding on top, and las gunning the crap out of just everything. Just fly up right underneath the harvester's butt, just wreck the whole thing. Absolutely stupid. And it took them 5 months to fix this. 5 months. Okay? 5. Not like 5 weeks. Not 5 days. 5 months. That's crazy. Okay, so just right away, I already know they don't give a frick about PvP. They still don't. They never have. Forget it. I actually hold the opinion that PvP was a mistake for this game. Definitely a mistake mixing the two, but it doesn't fit. And maybe we'll get into that. But yeah, let's just jump in. We'll set some stuff up here. See if the base tool actually pops my base back down. So here I am where I logged off 6 months ago. Wow, someone... That's crazy. Oh gosh, I gotta remember the controls. Someone has built a base in my exact spot and let it decay in the time I've been gone. Oh, that's awful to see. This thing must have been huge. Alright, let's see if I can even put it down. I may have to server or like siege hop until I can do what I need to do. Alright, my home. Does it know? X toggle to snap to origin. Okay, so that's where my base was, but I cannot place it there, probably because it's too close to that. Toggle snap to origin. Oh, my base is over there. Okay, so literally right where that guy built. I don't think the devs have added anything to Hagra since I last was on. Quick scroll through the patch notes. It was just basically bug fixes and the stuff I showed at the beginning of the stream. So nothing really important. It sucks because this game looks so good. It really does. Oh, got spice blow. I think the real lack of stuff to do is the big killer of this game. There's no like events. Like if you consider that above us an event, like oh man, a little ship fell out of the sky and it has some parts in it that you could loot. Like that's nice, but that's like an event for like a starting area. Look at that, guys. Look at that. It's Atreides too. Of course it would be Atreides. Oh, I bet you that's intentional. I bet you someone built a base here and wanted to keep it. We continue on. We'll go even lower in the list and hopefully find something. Well, I don't think I'll be able to place my base here. I guess it's worth a shot, but I don't think so. It's going to butt up against that. Really depends how far his subfief is. Oh, from it. Yo, there's no way. This guy's going to wake up one morning. Find someone just moved in. Alright, here we go. So this is how the build tool works when you replace something, and hopefully I don't have to file a support ticket. And it will take 7 days until I can pack it up again. That's how they get around people like building a deep desert base or something and then sticking it in there. Or like moving a base around all over the place with materials in it. And I think we're good. Welcome home. So this is my base. It's got great views. As you can see, you got a view of literally the entire area. This is why this spot is one of the better spots for a base in my opinion. I'm not going to get it out and unpack it, but you can fit a whole carrier in here and an assault. I think they're in here. Yep, there's all the parts for them. Like I said, I'm not going to get them out because I'm just here to explore the world and see, what's changed. I'm not really here to do anything else. So there's no more taxes, which I think is probably a good improvement. You already have a power metric, to destroy your base with if stuff gets abandoned. So why would you have a second, redundant thing? Doesn't really make sense. And then also, it's not like Solari is a meaningful gameplay loop. I mean, as you can see, I have 12, almost 13 million Solari, and I'm poor. I'm way poor compared to a lot of people on here. The economies have been ruined from duping since the very beginning of the game. So that sucks, and it's really easy to dupe Solari. So that's why the economy is blown up. And I would at times just go and mine certain materials or go and harvest flower sand and sell it on the market, and that's how I made my money. Not flower sand here though, because the hoggle worm is ridiculous. I do think the change to the overland map is better. I think this is an improvement. They, kind of are trying to make a survival game, but then make it an MMO. But then the MMO part kind of went away, and it became like a live service survival game. That's when duping becomes a big problem, because survival games are usually janky. You had a building system, which that's how at least one of the dupes that I know of would work, was using the building system. It adds just an extra layer of complexity and possibility for bugs. And, I knew of people in my guild who had a whole shack full of, just full of stuff. It is what it is. It's all gone now, and I would assume most of that stuff has decayed. I don't know anyone who plays this game anymore. But having something that's online but also a survival type game, I really don't know if that works. Because your power and your ability in the game comes from the resources you have. That's what a survival game is about. And so if you have it online, that means the key to power, and especially if you're PvPing, is through the resources. So if you can just dupe everything, then it's just instantly gone. It's instantly ruined. I don't have really high tier gear. After you get to tier 6, like a normal tier 6 piece, like this is a normal Mark 5 cut array. That's what that symbol means right here. It's Mark 5. Then this is a symbol for Mark 6, and then the rings around it is the grade. So this would be a Mark 6 replica pulse knife grade 2. It's grade 1. This is grade 2. I hate that so much. This addition was just a lazy way of trying to make more filler content. It just adds an extra level of damage increase for players to do higher level stuff. But the grind is stupid. The labs are static, and they don't change. And also, it's mind-numbing. I think I was soloing 7s or 8s or 9 before I was just so bored I just gave up. It was like, why am I doing this? There's no challenge. You can run it with up to 4 people, but there's no threat. Like if you're running a lab in the deep desert, people could jump you. They could steal your stuff. I mean, something that started as you and your buddies going to get some blueprints would turn into mass chaos when 2 other groups showed up, and there's a fight going on this island, and chaos, and there's ornithopters flying around, and who knows what, and then the worm shows up. That was peak Dune Awakening. But this, trying to turn it into a lobby-based roguelite, I guess, it's such a dumb idea. It makes no sense. It's like the creative vision for this game was so confused. They didn't know what they were, really. Interesting. So here we go. Pincushion pants. This is a basic, high tier armor set, light armor, decent. 450 million, the best armor piece in the game, one of them. Not the best, but if you're going for light armor, that's one of the best light armor pieces. An X core would be better. This is a grade 4 X core, 50 million. So this is a grade 5 power harness heavy armor, 150 million. Hard to know if that's what it's going for, what people are actually buying it for, but here's another one for 200 million. So it seems like The economy is kind of where I would expect it to be. It's hard to get that stuff, and people are probably using it if they have it. So they just took the rarity and they added 5 more steps to the rarity from tier 6, basically. The problem is the only way that I know of you can get that is by just doing the Overland Labs, which is for the Landsrad. We'll look at commodity prices in a second here. This is a good time for me to rant about specializations. So this system I thought was cool when it came out, but it seems to me that it's the worst sort of FOMO that you could have, because you're limited to how many of these you can do per week, right? And it also ties into your Landsrad progress, which, can I view it if I'm not in a guild? I still can't view it, okay. So as per usual here, as a side note, we can see Atreides is still winning the Landsrad. I'll come back to that in a second. So you complete these quests and you get, you know, your different rewards, Landsrad contribution, and that's how you claim these different tiles now. So they tied in a long-term player progression, which is this, with Landsrad, and made it limited per week. So in like something like old school RuneScape, which I've played a little bit of, you can decide one day you're going to go grind logs until you max out your woodcutting. Done. It's all based on how much the player can do. How much can the player do in a day? What's their tactics? How efficient are they? It's all based on their skill or their motivation or how much time they have, right? This system here is so stupid because it rewards the player for getting on the game. Now, that might seem like a good idea for the devs, like, oh, we have an engaging system where the players are going to come back into the game. The problem is for someone like me who was like, I'm taking a break for 6 months. I'm gone. I'm out of here. So I haven't done any of this. If I had done this, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm sure I could have maxed at least one of these trees, or at least gotten to a certain extent in each one of them where I have a varied skill set. Now, all these other players that have stuck with the game have much higher levels in these things, and that feels bad to me as someone who, gave the game a break. It doesn't matter as much for PvE, but this is where, again, the devs have shown they don't give a crap about PvP. They don't care at all. Not at all. This combat skill tree is insane. So let's look at this here. You get max health, right? Max stamina. What else we got here? And each one of these little ones here is +1 damage. So by the time you get to the end of this, you're like way more powerful than anyone else. Anyone who doesn't have this leveled up, forget it. So that's just like a massive nail in the coffin. How does this compare to Minecraft is a question. It's nothing like Minecraft, but I would say if you like a survival game and just want to, chill and play a game in the Dune universe, it's good. It's good for about 50 to 100 hours. But if you're interested in anything long-term, like, events, battles between guilds, things where, you have nemesis, and so, like, this guild hates that guild, and they're trying to sabotage each other, and they're going to town in the deep desert and fighting each other. All that stuff that we thought was going to be in the game at launch, none of that is here. And the systems that they're adding, like I said, with these specializations, just make it worse for anyone who is anything other than a sweat that logs on every week. So this is almost like rewards in like one of those mobile games. It's like you log on every day and you get the little item. And it's just lazy development, and it sucks. And it makes me not want to play the game anymore, because I know that there's people that are already probably working on their third one of these. I think the math was that it would take over a year to level these all up if you did the stuff every week and did all the tasks. So that I don't want to even put time into something like that. Like, why would I do that, right? So that sucks. Anyway, that's the specialization system. That's one of the things I hate the most, along with the mind-numbing grind of the labs, which I think was an awful addition. I hope they get rid of those. I know they're not going to, but it doesn't make sense for the game. You have an open-world survival game, and then at the end game, you start doing Helldivers 2 missions. But they're worse somehow. They're more like, I don't even know what they're like. Deep Rock Galactic, except you shoot stuff instead of mining things. I mean, Deep Rock Galactic is based on that sort of roguelite, randomly generated simulation, except these labs aren't even randomly generated. So it's just like the most little amount of effort you could do to try to keep players engaged. And the rewards are showing. If their ideas worked, they wouldn't have under 6,000 players right now here on Steam. So let's look at the market here. Spice-infused fuel cells are going for 44 each. So it looks like the economy has grown with the new items and things have leveled out. Those are not hard to make. 11 for silicon blocks. I'm pretty sure there were 2,000 to 3,000 when I was last playing because I farmed them a bunch. This is a good marker. The economy has quadrupled in order to account for the new gear. Plasteel plates. Plastanium. It's been so long I forgot how stuff is spelled. So 35 per, so it's about 3 times more, because I think it was around 12 to 15. Yeah, you can see the market has shifted. Obviously, any blueprints that you had are no longer really valuable. Even like just normal tier 6, it's just something you get on the way to tier 6 grade 5. I was kind of curious if the market would adapt, and it has adapted to the new prices. So we'll see what the new Polar Ice Caps DLC does, and if it changes anything. I mean, there's going to be new survival mechanics, so that should be interesting. Not to come across as hating on Funcom. I mean, the Conan Exiles is really good, but I don't really know what they were trying to go for this game. I think the biggest takeaway, you get past the PvE versus PvP stuff. Get past all the hate towards different players and what they like to play, and get down to the root of the problem. They didn't make a game that was congruent, and I think that's the biggest problem. Is you have players from all sorts of games with all sorts of expectations, and they all got into the game and played it and were like, a lot of people enjoyed it, but I don't think anyone played it and got 100% what they were expecting. Now, you might have people that say that, but you know, they're probably just tooting their own horn. Let's be real. I'm curious to see this new area and if I can still fight. So I got my knife, I got Weirding Step, Crippling Strike, I got whatever this is, an R's Lullaby, and I've got the Perforator, which is a great shotgun. Alright. Murder time.
Shields up.
I did hear they made parrying easier. It does feel that way. So this build set is the Water Shippers set, which I don't know the details because I haven't researched it yet, but from what I understand, like, I bought the deluxe edition, so I got this set, and I'll have to check it out before we end the stream. But this was promised originally to be a free, or not a free, but to be a story DLC, and so they just gave us a cosmetic pack, and they're going to make it free. I think that's the current issue people are having. I don't know, so don't quote me on it. That's what I hear. If so, that kind of sucks. Maybe it's a little bigger now. I always found being able to parry had more to do with your connection to the servers, and if the servers were acting correctly. So this area is close to the polar caps. So just looking at this terrain and kind of how the rock's darker and everything, I'm curious if this is a little bit of like a test bed for the new polar expansion. The terrain looks a little different. It has more of a foggy, kind of smoky vibe to it. So like these missions they're okay, but I wish I had a randomly generated task like this. I don't know if it's randomly generated. It feels like it could be, but it might just be like a pool of jobs that they pull from. I wish this stuff took place like in a zone where other players could attack or leave. Like almost like an extraction shooter, but less stressful because you don't drop anything, you die. That's the one thing about PvP. It's like, it sucks if it messes you up when you're gathering, I don't like having to gather and like farm while PvPing, but getting loot and blueprints, stuff like that, I mean, I don't mind that sort of thrill. That's one of the things I like from Conan, is getting some good like legendaries and then running away. This better be the last one. 20 seconds to spare. And is that it? Return to the Ornithopter. Okay, so that's the majority of that mission. You run around, you stab some guys, you tap a bunch of consoles. This is one of the cases where like I feel that Funcom's vision for this game just failed to think about anything dynamic. Like, how would you make a mission where you come in here and you have to hijack a bunch of things and then the rock like falls out of the sky and like hits something and like blows something else up? Like, that would be so cool. You could make it cinematic, it'd be crazy. You could not fight the enemies, and then if it did fall on them, it would kill them too. Like, that would be really cool. But no, that's not what we got. And the thing that's irked me the most, like, especially in line with that idea, is why aren't there faction-based like harvester events? Why aren't you going out there, attack a spice harvester, and then, you know, Atreides has to defend it, and it's like an actual large like in-world event, an in-world structure, and then you have like a faction v faction battle. I don't know, that to me seems like kind of the blend of MMO and kind of faction tension that you want, but fortunately that's not what we got. So that's that. Overall, new points of interest on the map, that's cool, but they're still underwhelming and not really that interesting. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is, I think we'll check out the building set. So that's the last thing that I wanted to look at, and then we'll call it for the stream, and I'm going to go edit this video and see what type of hate we can get on YouTube. It should be fun. So that's like a gray, blue stone sort of texture. It's kind of nice. Now let's see if I can put one on top so we can look at that. It's very mechanical. We got a couple of wall variations. So they're really going for that white and red. My original beta guild was supposed to be Sardaukar themed, so this would have looked nice with that. Maybe mix some of the Chome facility set in with some of the red. Like, would have looked pretty cool. Interesting. So we have like this roof piece is angular, like a little bubble. It almost looks like it's trying to be a vehicle, not a actual base. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know if I like that too much. Like the gold bronze look to it. They're okay. And for special pieces, they have this. What is this? Wow. It's supposed to look like some machinery, maybe? I mean, that you could use that as like a archway almost, like for the top of a roof. Put this on top of a roof and just have it kind of going along. Game seems much the same. Hasn't really changed since I quit in February. That's kind of disappointing. I was hoping they would have added some new stuff, but we'll see. I heard they were laying off adding new content because they want to get the console players in, and then they'll add the new polar ice cap stuff. But I don't know why that makes sense to them, because from last I heard, they're not even adding crossplay, which really just is a detriment to everyone, because the console players will quit once they figure out what this game is, same as the PC players. And so at the end of all that, you'll still have a small population on the different consoles, plus the small population still on PC playing on PC. So at the end of it, everyone's all going to be separated, and I think they should really have worked to put it all together onto one server. I don't know why. I don't know what their reasoning is for that, but it's not going to be a good thing for the overall life of the game. So that's unfortunate. But next stream that I do in Dune will probably be when Water Shippers comes out. All right, that's it for this stream. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys all later.